Hello, family. How are you? Welcome to the channel. My name is Intab Sangwachana, and I'm a spiritual medium. And so we are here doing the things that we are sent out here to do. Today it's just gonna go in its own flow, as normally it would go in its own flow. But I have a couple of concepts in mind that I want us to discuss. Ne? And so we are talking about how we are going forward. I keep on saying to family members and clients of mine to say, I'm no longer feeding the milk. I'm no longer feeding milk. We need to develop. We are forced to develop spiritually. And it's a thing that you have to grow up quickly. You can think of this thing as a child headed home. One day you are children and you are laughing and your parents are catering for your or every need, and suddenly a tragedy happens and your parents pass on and you are left as children. So you understand the kind of growing up that needs to happen as quickly as possible. Now I in on this gift, I understood that I needed to teach as I learned, right? And I try to do that to the best of my capability, and I try to do that to the best of what I'm allowed to share. At this stage, I think my ancestors are like Batwaku TikTok. They overshare. They overshare. They like right here, right now, bring it on, and boom, right? So there are many things that I thought, wow, how did that come out when you just said to me, roll the camera, and now you unleash all of those things. But anyway, I'm a vessel, and through a vessel, all things will flow, right? So I allow for this thing to flow through me, and I am a humble servant of God and my guides. And so today, the topic is about, right? Not the topic is, so the discussion is about what you can no longer do in this era as we are moving towards getting your spiritual development. What are the things that are keeping you so blocked down that you believe are important because you still want to remain in an elementary zone? I think when I did the You Are Gifted and Comfort Zoned video, most people did not really like that one because it was a push. Ne? People don't like to be pushed, especially if they're paying for a service. They want you to walk them through like it's an opera kind of event where we can just sit in with expensive garments, and because we have this beautiful gallery, there's a mannerism about us that we need to employ, and you cannot be too crass and loud and raw, but we have to be, because spirituality is raw, spirit filled is raw. And so as I was seated there minding my own business, normally when I say that, I tell people to say as usual. So as I was sitting there minding my own business, as usual, you see, so let's try it. As I was sitting there minding my own business, you learn quick. So ancestors were saying to me, what are the things that are not going to work within people as they come into this years that we are talking about systems having no secrets. We are talking about being monitored. We are talking about knowing thy voice. We are talking about mastering ancestors' voice. We are talking about mastering and recognizing the voice of the ultimate God. If at this stage you still believe that God is an African, it's a Christian understanding of God, you are going to have a serious problem with me, right? And that's why you're finding other people saying Mother God and Father God, because now God, the concept of God, has taken a a universal identity. It has taken a non-form, a non-form identity. It has always been that. It is just that we're still entertaining the colonizers. It has always been that, right? And so, if you read a book called Conversations with God by Donald Neil Welsh. It's a three-part series. One starts off focusing on the personal issues about who God is and how there's just no template of you do good, I'm going to reward, you do bad, I'm going to punish. There's not there's, so it debunks a lot of myths, right? And a lot of religious myths. So, and when I'm saying religious, it's not like I'm against Christianity. I'm against what we have endured against it, right? The world is shaped by men. The world is shaped by individuals, and the collective thinking that we embody will then give us an outcome of the world that we live in. So, I'm not against. I'm not against I'm against religious dogma as a whole because it has operated from a point of fear and punishment. And you do a little, but you can even get punished. So you just can't win. You just can't get it right. And with most religion, it has always been like that. But even the separation and the distinction of religion is because we could not agree who and what God is. We understand that there's a divine thing that moves all of us, but we cannot qualify it. And for as long as we cannot qualify it, we are going to say we own it and you don't. And because you don't, that's why bad luck is happening to you. And that's why you are formed like that. That's why you are, because we still are operating from a thing that we do not understand. And that's why the definition of the universe is becoming, oh, okay, so now we can just put it to the cosmic and say we are one with the cosmic and we are made of the same mechanism that does that and does that, and therefore you raise a certain frequency of a vibration and megahertz and you are then connected to the source, and we're like, right? And the Christian people come and say, yeah, 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 don't confuse the universe and the God who made the universe. We're like, we are back again at definition. So that is exactly the topic of today, that the definition that you seek are no longer going to work for us because we get so bogged down trying to title and name things that we don't actually do the work. Now, so this is where we are at today. I'm a big fan of Vusitembe Kwayo, VT. I am a very, very big fan of his work. I'm a very big fan of a South African young man that has went on to do what most of us can, we have not even imagined what is available. And obviously he does go through challenges like any other individual person, and he shares what is acceptable, or whatever that he's free to share. But I get a sense that when it comes to business, I, I get a sense that, especially when you listen to the teachings of his school of scale, that you understand that this is about growing the economy and from an individual point of view, right? So, um, and I like the twang, and I like the suits, and and I like his weird, gassy sense of humor. My goodness, yo, he kills me. He kills me. Now, one of the things that he says that he heard from somebody, I can't remember who does he attributed this citation to, but he says that the quality of your question will determine the quality of the answer. And he heard it from somebody else. So I was focused on him. And so let's work on that. Oh, this chair's battle. It's just that the lighting is much more nicer. So let's work on that. Let's work on that concept. The quality of your question will determine the quality of your answer. If you ask an open ended question, have you eaten? Open ended. It requires a yes. If you get curious after that, what did you eat? You've already closed the interest of a person. They can determine whether they want to engage you further or not, depending on many other things and the barriers that go on cognitively in the minds of people, right? They can dismiss you, they can engage you. We don't know, right? But you might as well, while you are having the attention of people, just get what you can. Just get what you can quickly as possible. It's a news element. It's a news principle. So if at the beginning I start to say, what did you eat for breakfast? If you say I ate Evo and tartar sauce on toast and cheese, which is what I ate, I already can get that indeed you ate. You already gave me an unconscious projection kind of an answer that says yes. The yes is already included in the description of what you ate. And I'm much more knowledgeable about what happened. So I even have an itemized flow of the things that you ate, and automatically I can understand based on what you ate, this is the caliber of an individual I'm going to get today, just from Ujileng for breakfast. What? So the quality of the question determines the quality of the answer and what you need to do with the answer. Now, let's bring it back to ancestors. This is what they're saying. There are many questions that remember what is my atmosphere. My atmosphere as a healer is that I'm out there on social media, on international media, wherever you are finding me, word of mouth, whatever you are finding me. But because I understand that you can never operate from your level of exposure, I automatically understand certain things that are coming from the people depending on which season I'm in. So I know that if I'm in this season, these are the caliber of people that I'm going to be healing, and these are the issues, and these are likely to be the intervention. And if I don't know an intervention, there's a lesson for me to get, and therefore employ the intervention and move, go on to the next phase of people. Sharp. Now, ancestors are no longer interested in you asking, am I being called from my mother's side or my father's side? It is no longer a thing. Because in the broader scope of things, where we are going to be talking about the whole flow of angelhood and ascending masters and angels and archangels and the cherubims and all of those entities that we're going to be talking about, the powers, the rulers, we are going to be talking about this thing, and the entire study of the demonology on these things, the trickers, the people who are giving chaos, the demons, the evil monsters, all of them. One space. You can go Google all of them and you do your comparison. It's called the spiritual hierarchy. You can just go and find spiritual hierarchy. You can also find the evil spiritual hierarchy. It will tell you of the demons and the names of the demons. I took a liberty now, ne? Because I would please just pardon me while I stand and get myself seated nicely. Uh, so in trying to prepare for this lesson, I was like, I God, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to speak a cat. So because this menu is rather funny. But come, let's indulge each other. Ne? Come. So Bareke, my friend this morning was saying to me, everybody in my life is a suspect. And so he was saying to me, you know, It's either in my life you're an angel or you're a fallen angel. There's nothing between. And I found that concept to be extremely, extremely hilarious. And so when I did the demonology, the study of demons, right? And I wanted to understand who fights against who fights against who, so that I understand. My uncle loves these things. What I was with my so I would at the demons like Baphomet does that. Baphomet, yeah, you would swear like he's like had a whole list of a cabinet, and he'll tell you this is the minister of water and sanitation. This is the ministry of women and children. Like daddy demons, it is so incredible, and he'll tell you this Baphomet operates in Brazil. He's the one of the drug lords and the sexual promiscuity and what. It's okay, but there are certain things as you are hearing them, your spirit will flinch and cringe and you'll understand that this one is not serving me well. Well, again, depending on who you are, I can we are saving both people here. This is social media, it's everybody for the kill. So some people are for Kanete the kingdom of the darkness, and they were like, Kanete, I do not know that. Gogo, how do I search for these things in Brazil? So please do not. I ask as a belief, ekfra as a belief, that you please do not ask me about such things or ask me for the numbers Tamalumi so that he can teach you. He'll gladly do so. But as a belief, do not. Let's move there on. So we're talking. Okay, I was doing this thing, and it gives you function and names. It says demons, fallen angels. These are supernatural beings that are usually associated with the Judeo-Christian devil. Judeo-Christian devil. So you can even understand what even in the devil there are variations. When I hear the Judeo-Christian devil, there's a concept, there's a myth that has been planted by the understanding of the Judeo-Christians where our devil will do these things. Yeah. Thyroid or other or other forces, they may cause disease, temptations, possession, or forms of harm to humans. Some examples are Satan, Lilith, and some name that I cannot pronounce. So we'll leave it to that. I'm not going to try to learn a name of a demon. Really, I'm not going to go out of my way of a fallen angel. And then Tsedim Barakiti chaos monsters. These are primordial creatures that represents disorder, chaos, and destruction. They may try to overthrow the gods or disrupt the cosmic balance. Some examples are Tiamat, Typhoon, Typhoon, and Leviathan, etc. They may try to overthrow the gods, chaos monsters. They may try to overthrow the gods. Let's continue. Then other things, entities, they say is the underworld deities. These are gods and goddesses that rule over realm of the dead or the underworld. Mediums, do we know? They may be involved in death, fertility, or rebirth cycles. Can you imagine as you try to have your rebirth cycling there, your 7 years, and they affect what you're going to be doing as you are doing the ascending master, as you're doing the evolving into, or as you're doing your reincarnation, as you are deciding whether you should be reincarnating or not, and you find the underworld deities. They may also demand sacrifices or punish the wicked. Kubi. Natural evils. So these are forces of nature that can cause disasters, calamities, or plagues. They may be seen as gods or spirits that need to be appeased or appropriated. Some examples are hurricanes, earthquakes, volcano. Who would have thought? We just thought this was geography. And then they say they're tricksters. These are entities that are cunning, mischievous, deceptive. They may play pranks, cause trouble, or challenge the gods. Who are the gods? At this stage, don't you just want to know who the gods are? Some examples are Loki, Coyote, and Anansi. their names, guys. Like people said and gave the tricksters in the atmosphere and the hierarchy of demonology names. Yeah. And then they say why are people screaming out here in the neighborhood? Then there are people who are saying demonology catalogs. These are entities that are listed as demons by demonologists. There are people who go and study demonologist. Hi, I'm Tabitha Watch and I'm a demonologist. Yo, I wonder what kind of protection you would have to do to. Hey, guys. But these are entities that are listed as demons by demonologists. For example, Pseudo-Monarchia Demonan from 1583. The dictionary in Ferrel was made in 1863, and the occultists. So, by virtue of me just saying that to you, your spirit, it's either evoked or you are scared at this stage. You can understand then when Badimo are then saying that this question of your mother's side and your father's side, it can no longer work because this is the system that you are dealing with. This is the system of operation that you are under. So does it matter who has given you the gift when the tricksters and the natural evils are there and all of these things that I just mentioned? Does it matter if your mother's side or your father's side is going to fight against this thing? The scope of war is bigger. The scope of consciousness is bigger. The scope of will is bigger. And you can no longer be bogged down by little things of milk feeding. And I, as an individual, it's important. Yes, obviously, as a seer and you're a client, I will then tell you where I'm feeling the vibration. Is it a maternal? And because I'm also a generational reader, that comes naturally. But the understanding today, as I'm getting the lesson, it's not like they're going to glimmer that ability of me to do that. If it's imperative in a reading, and an ancestor will come in and say, I am Mang Mang, who was born in the fourth generation, who was born in what, and this is what I did, this is what I did. That's good. They can then praise self, and I can then transform. I can then tell it to you because I am a messenger of the Spirit. But the ancestors today are saying this is bogging your people down. It's bogging the people down because why would somebody ask? What benefit is it in execution of a gift for you to ask? Is it coming from my mother's side and my father's side? What is the automatic action after that? It is then to project the politics of your mother's side or your father's side and weigh whether you can engage as now a gifted person. And the playing field has already been established. You then want to come in with a new remote to come in and remote a system that has been holding a remote, and they're only letting you now when you are being kakubat, when you are having a consultation, and now you want to come into a consultation and say, hey, can I have my little nana remote, mother side or father side? I can now decide to choose. So this is why they're saying these things are starting to not make us progressive. It's good for information, but what do you do? The quality of the question determines the quality of the answer. And so what do you then do with the answer? What does the answer feed unto you? Do you get a clearer picture? Yes, you can get a clearer reference. You can try and go form up your family tree, and you can cognitively balance self there and go, yes, I know my mother's side. Oh, they're so protective. The scope is bigger. How are they going to protect you against the tricksters? How are they going to align you better with the other side of the angels and what? These are concepts that are also westernized. I'm sure we have our own African concepts here of of the gods in Benin of destruction and the gods of wherever in destruction. But it's a matter of semantics and I need collab. Where I am is that what are the things that are making us to not progress when the fight is begun? What are the things that are going to give us a downfall? So I'm a strategist by profession. So I'm a communication strategist. As a strategist, your job is to come in and parachute. You come into an organization, you get the organization, you've been viewing the organization from an outsider. You come into an organization and you ask, what, give me your pattern of thinking. What are you trying to do? Where what makes the bread to run smoothly on the butter? They let you know, and you say, okay, are you then making it understandable in the mind of an ordinary individual? Because as a communication person, you need to communicate across all tiers. Is the message uniform? Are we trying with all of the intervention that you're bringing? Are you then getting maximum benefit that speaks to intervention and output, right? Then you come in, you bash, you're not doing this thing right, pa pa pa, you tatamola them, you make them bear. Right? You make them bear, and after you made them bear, you are coming in. You're doing a parachuting job, right? You're coming in from an upper view, do 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 do, and then you go. When you go with a strategy that says, okay, I think we need to do that and do that there at this time, and this would be the result, this would be the challenge, this would be the win, this would be how we are going to see the impact. Then you have your impact studies there, you do, right? So, why am I telling you all of these things? I'm saying, why am I want to interact the little demons, ne? Where's my candle? Did I switch off my candle? I'm having different kinds of pains, unnecessary pains. I can't see the match. I'm just gonna have to divine over the water, over the medium of. Thank you. So, what are the things that are really keeping us backward? Now, as a strategist, somebody must tell you what no longer works. It might have been comfortable, but where you are going and where you are playing at, it's a mismatch. So you need to up your game because this is the industry that you are playing in. These are the trends, these are the threats, these are the strengths. This is who is playing so big in your industry, while when you are focused on your return on your returns of investment, on your turnover, on all of these things, this is the environment. And somebody must come in from up above and tell you, somebody must look at all areas and tell you what is going on. So when our sisters are coming in and telling us, you're asking wrong questions at the stage. I like to make examples. Ne? If you found your husband or your wife cheating, the facts are this person has went against the oaths. They went against the vows and they did whatever they wanted to do, and they were hoping that they're never going to get caught, or indeed they wanted you to find out. But there are questions that a person who is a victim of cheating, and I'm saying victim, who is a victim, because we're going to talk a whole lot about victimization in the spirit, who is a victim of this cheating, they would then say, who is she? And you say, it's Dineo. Okay. How many times? How many times did you engage with Dineo? And you don't want to say because you are thinking that this will damage a person. The person who's asking is seeking for instant gratification and to fill in the blanks, but ultimately, that's all they're going to hear. How many times? 15! 15, man! When I'm 15 times. So in Mokadi's mind, all she's ever gonna hear is 15, Dinero 15. And you ask, do you love her? Are you in love with Mokadi? Are you in love with Dinero? Are you in love with Dinero? I'm asking, tuku tuku tuku, shaking, taking the candles and throwing it here. Are you in love? And he says yes. So all you now hear is Dinero 15, I'm in love. You are never going to heal and you're never going to move forward. And now you then absorb everything else that is the politics of your mother's side and your father's side, because you are asking all the questions that are instantly gratifying, but over time it sends you into a thing of seeking other things and trying to fit yourself in the Dineo profile and starting to weigh against 15 times in Rena since 1977. How many times? Bona 15 times in 3 months. What does it mean? Then you start working on the ratio. The quality of your question is going to be detriment to you. Or the lack of quality in your questions is going to be detriment to how you are then perceiving all of this information. What do you do with it? It only has one way of just making you unable to heal. It is debilitating you. Then you are no longer about the calling, you are about the callers. And you interrogate the personality, the characters, the integrity of those who called me. Why would Gogo today akampitsa hello riena na tloile mama? It's not about the calling. Yes, it's good for you to understand the dynamics, because you are called exactly for that. You are called for conflict. So you cannot perpetuate the issues of past conflicts in a new call. Otherwise, you would not be called if everything was in equilibrium. You're only a healer for as long as there's turmoil, and I've said this so many times. So when you're called, you must know that the place where you're called into, there are always problems. If I'm called into my own family and I'm an advisor and I'm a spiritual lead of my own family, I must understand that there is an information barrier that the people are not hearing directly from my own ancestors, or the level at which they had called me for, me holding out the torch for my own family. It means that at all times I have to navigate the darkness of the family because I'm a torch bearer. Now, if I then say, why are you going to call me? You're also going to call me for Malum Afrate, who was a thief of the balloon when we were young. All of the scaftinies that he stole. Now I must also give him ancestral information. Then you start into the nitty-gritty picking of the politics that you should not even be embarking on, because now you are personalizing a greater good where you shouldn't. And you can't help it because you're human. You can't help it because you're human. So let's move on. Then there are people who will pick heroes and victims of the call. Most of us are navigating these gifts without papers that are documented. Most of us are also navigating these callings, let's get the jargon right, callings, even without the benefit of the stories from the fire. We've only heard one or two lines, and now you have to walk into a calling after only hearing one or two lines. And the rest of the thing is blank, and the rest of the thing you don't want to venture into because there is no added information that is physical. And it's daunting for you to then ascend yourself into the spiritual and ask and embark on your own fact finding mission from the people who have called you. Treat this thing as a telemarketing call. Hello? Hi, may I please speak to Miss Mojana? Yes. Who's this? I am Nandipa from, what is this thing? Delaram's realm. Nandipa from where? Nandipa from Delaram's realm. What is this about? Then I'm already negative to Nandipa because it's not scheduled. Nandipa is not on my call list. Why is Nandipa calling? Where did Nandipa get my phone number from? I'm already pushing back against whatever Nandipa is going to say. Our energies at this time, Minano Nandipa, are imbalanced. She is hoping to convince. I am automatically hoping to push back. And I need somebody to say, oh, I know them. You know the Laram realms in my presence. My auntie, my kuku, my mom, you know them. Okay, hi Nandipa. Yeah, what's your story? Other than that, Nandipa and I have a situation where Nandipa has to say, Miss Mojana, you are on our database because according to the system of the cosmic and what your soul contract has put upon, you are now in the era of your gift, and therefore you need to come forth and liberate the society that is misinformed about who ancestors are. And there's been such a misconception for so many years until the ages of whatever that at this moment we believe that you are ready and anointed and lubricated and you've done enough work in order for you to become a lead of this new revolution or at least one of the messengers. Do you choose to participate? Uh, Nandipa, I'm not sure. Can I get your number so that I can call you back? What are we talking about? Um, okay, okay. Can I get so that I can then call you back and engage and understand and think about what you're saying to me, Nandipa? Nandipa then awaits. Me and Nandipa are now vulnerable. But Nandipa, according to what she just said to me and read out my soul contract, definitely my answer to her is in the periphery. Because clearly Nandipa knows my number, knows who I am, can identify me by a code and a VIN number. And Mina, I just met Nandipa. Is it a problem for me? It is. Now I have to rely on the auntie who are saying, yeah, I know them from Delirium Realms. Then what do they do? But yet I have the number. Nandipa has given me a contact number for me to go back and get myself right without the external audience of my Rakadi and everybody else that is speaking to say, Miss Nandipa, when, where, teach me. I'll follow. Because at this point, Nandipa is much more clued up about me and about the origins of my own Rakadi than I am, because my Rakadi does not have a copy of my soul contract, but the caller has. Now, I want to go to these people who can recognize that the Moholo Mama. I don't go to the one who has given the caller information about me. I don't go to the caller at all. So then you start to want to understand Nandipa from how many people has Nandipa called before? Do you know Nandipa? What? Then everybody else is now rallying on this gift, is now rallying on this thing that you've not even at all attempted to find out. And you are already having gawking eyes of your own, except from the system that you are now coming into. You already have a different problem that you introduced because you could not keep it sacred and secret. But there's a direct line to Nandipa so that you and her can engage, because Nandipa, when she called, she did not call a conference meeting. She did not call you there on a Teams, what. She did not do a Zoom meeting with everybody else included. She called you. So personalize the calling, because the caller is personal. My point was, we start to then want the heroes and the victims of this thing that we are called about. And we can no longer want to do that. When we have a direct line, we have the candles, we have the snuff, we have the divinations, we have the prayers, we have the prayer times, we have all of these things that we know. We are dreaming of the connection tools. We know we have the direct number to the caller. Go to the caller. So it's no longer important to this point to then say, yes, Gogo Umpudise, but I do not understand who this person is, who is this grandmother and this grandfather. The synthetic on this thing keeps on just rubbing on my neck. So that's why you are finding, but it's about the look, right? It's about the look. I need to give you an image. So that's the problem. The victimizing of self when you're called, the assuming a position that you want to identify with the caller story and you want other people to corroborate the story of the caller when the call is personal. Then there's the victim mode. The victim mode would be, why me? Why am I given this task? I understand now what this thing is about, but why me? Why am I given this task? Why did they not give it to mama? This thing is painful. Da, 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 da. All things are painful. All things are painful in the spiritual realm. Nobody goes through an awakening at a chocolate bar. A spiritual awakening is difficult because you have to shed off your spiritual, your physical self. You have to shed off your preconceived ideas about anything that you have ever learned, because it will not be an awakening if all this time you were awake. I like to reference this writer, Barge Ken von Temba, who says, Ken Temba, right? Ken Temba, the drum era journalist, who has a line that says, realism can be star-scattering, even if you've lived your whole unthinking life in reality. Realism can be star-scattering, stars scattering, even if you've lived your whole unthinking life, because you were not conscious. You are living it, but you are not conscious about a thing. It's like driving. After some point, you are like, I know what to do. The pedals, and if you're driving an automatic, it's even far worse. Your motor response is like doing the whole thing, and you're like, oh, Papa, I can be conscious. You are doing your whole thing, your unthinking life. You're moving in your unthinking, unconscious life. Even if you've lived your whole unthinking life in reality, but you are still waiting for realism, the state of reality, not reality itself, the true state, the mannerism, the all-encompassing full spectrum of reality. When it's been called realism, the mannerism of reality, all encompassing, can be star scattering. Because you've lived your whole unthinking life in reality, but now you have to meet the mannerism of reality. And you then start to have a cognitive dissonance. Was the word, I never know how to pronounce it if I'm not reading it. But you're starting to have a cadenza in your whole head. You're starting to have a whole cadenza about what is going on. You can also no longer ask things like, what do they want me to buy? You've seen. Where do what they want me to go? You've seen. You can no longer ask such little things, especially if you are a returnee asker. There are people who will chronically ask you one thing and the answer is one, because strategy of spirit hardly ever changes. That is why as a strategist, you're going to come and give people a 6 months, a year strategy, or a 20 point strategy, a 10 years strategy, because you are saying this is where we are going. We are mapping up things. Now people will not want to move because they're intimidated by the plan. They're intimidated by the plan. So you can no longer do that. Be intimidated by the strategy as you know it and the time frames of it. Then the other thing that you can no longer do is to go back to your old ways, your patterns, your natural responses, because the minute you're starting to accept a gift, you are then accepting a gift of servitude. The person who has called you to serve controls the remote. So you can no longer want to make sure that on this remote is 1 1. I used to press 1 and it used to give me SABC 1. Now I'm pressing, it's now giving me what the 191 is now the 161. So you can no longer do the things of the old when you've accepted, because accepting of the gift requires total surrendering. Accepting of the system of governance Yabadimu requires total surrendering and adherence and listening and attentiveness, and all senses must be evoked all at once. So you can't choose that your dreams are much more valid than the vision, and the vision is not valid than the trance, and the trance is not valid than the epiphany that you are getting by a coloration of things. Because when you are in ancestral loop and information systems, all things must there is no need for an ancestor to give you information that has no relevance to you. You are only as impactful as your level of exposure. So why are they giving you this information? Bakpela, so that you can go boza. Even as a journalist, they don't just go boza for nothing. News has to have an essence and a time frame. Other than that, it is old news. News is immediate. News requires some sort of novelty. News requires prominence. News is time dependent. So you cannot sit on a revelation. We spoke about this. You are comfortable in you are gifted in comfort zone. You can no longer sit with revelations, because revelations have a time frame and you are called to act. So these questions that you are asking, my family, they make you debilitated. When you know about how many times your husband has been with Dineo, that information will never help you heal. It will never bring you forth to the next step, and it will never help you to achieve a decision. You have not interacted with the fact that this marriage has broken down and the water has come into the marriage. You are projecting on Dineo. You're a victim. The crack is opening wider. The water is going to come in and take you. So, it is important that even the quality of your prayers, the quality of your benediction, the quality of what you are trying to release, the quality of the processes of release is important, right? It's important that you release all things. All things have passed away. I'm a brand new man. I'm a new creation. What's the next line? Yeah, perhaps a new better song to choose. The next line is, I'm born again. But you're gonna go through so many rebirths, and you can no longer hold on to old patterns, because the spirit is like news every day. You cannot be seeing a breaking news. Madlanga Commission breaking news. Madlanga Commission breaking news. Madlanga break in red, bold, breaking news, 4 days in a row. It's not breaking news. Breaking. So every day your ancestors have a breaking news story. And that's why it's important that every day you go and ask, what is the program of the day? There's a strategic intent up there. There's a program of action that will govern this week. There are deliverables of this week. But today, how am I getting to the finish line? Today, on day one, how am I waking myself to the strategy of 10 years? So I have 365 times 10 years to get times 10 years to get there. So on today, how do I start? The journey of 1,000 miles is start by what is the program of today. Therefore, you cannot then ask a healer anymore that how many times do I pass? How many times do you speak to your child who's in university? How many times do you speak to your mother? How many times do you speak to your lover? How many times do you speak to your bestie? How many times do you? It's a relationship, and forge one on mutual respect. And it can no longer chase you all the time. Nantipa cannot come and call you every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Now, there are questions that people like to ask. Um, when is the gift going to finish? I'm also one of those people. I'm so guilty, Lord. I'm guilty, Lord. I'm like so guilty. There are certain people whose gifts the gift can no longer finish because the gift is a footprint, it's an imprint, right? So if your soul contract has made it onto the list of the gifted, then there are certain things. It might be on a correspondence, it might be on a consultancy base. You can come in as an advisor and come out. But the maintenance of the flow of the line is a continuous thing. So the maintenance, even as a strategist, you do have a contract with those people to say, in the meantime, there's an NDA that you are signing. In the meantime, you cannot go and be a strategist for a competing company. There are laws that govern this interaction. There are rules that govern this interaction, and therefore, every now and then, after 3 months, we have to go onto a call. Every 2 months, we have to come in. The guidance system and the channel of communication needs to go on every day, even though the input and the output might not be as consistent as possible, but the reporting might not be as consistent as it should be, but this thing governs us, and we have to both honor it. We have a responsibility to honor it. We are fine. Now, there are people whose job is to come in and heal. Let's say most of your ancestors died of a certain illness, right? And so now you are coming in to become a person who's going to be healing the lineage of sugar diabetes or whatever it is. You can name a spectrum of illnesses, and now you have this illness and it takes you from there to be, and then all your ancestors needs to come through you throughout the whole duration of you having that sickness, and you are ulapha umkhulu chauke, ulapha umamkhulu mampo, ulapha mama, ulapha mama. Individually those souls will circle in you, and you'll heal, you'll deal with everybody, but they have to come, and you have to know who you are healing. So I want to tell Otolapha Lidlozi, and we want to believe that Lidlozi is one big ball of a cloud. Lidlozi must speak to you because Madlozi is an individualized. They must come in and speak to you, and you have to do the work according to mele bakutshele ukuthi hayi, hey waze bangidelisa ntombazane, ngi-right, ngipholile mntanami, ngiyabonga, whatever. Osipedi seuwe ke a leboga ngwanaka, napiadi wa tseba ka tla ka fola, ria. They have to come and speak to thee. A gona Lidlozi le is going to be coming. Gogo, you said I must lapha. Is she healed? Can I book a consultation to check if she's healed? Hi. She's healed for a purpose. She's healed to prevent that thing from happening. She's healed for a continuation of a new thing. And you have to be at utmost observant and attentive at all times. That is why you can no longer continue to ask infantile issues. We must grow in the spirit. We must grow and accept our guides as guides. Your guide can call me once in a while, but your guide is not going to guide me and become a guide in my life. After the conversation we are done, I'm going to get guided by other people. Other people are going to be told about my guides, and my guides and your guides will, and other people's guides will meet, and we'll be guiding each other. But daily, it is thee. So other people like, okay, now that sengilapha emadlozi nani nani sengicedile ne, I can go back to my work. I didn't say that I'm very guilty. But it's a soul contract. This is the job. This is the job. And if now they just gave me a strategy, every year they're going to give me a strategy for the next 25 years, you can imagine. They might as well just start up with a retirement plan and give me a medical aid because clearly my job requires a risk allowance and all things at this stage, right? At this stage, it requires such things. There are things that you can no longer ask. What do I do with the water? What do I do with the water? What do I do with the canes in Dukulere? When do I use it? When? Ulapidlozi. They are handicapped. Now you are handicapped. You need a crutch for the both of you to walk this journey. So when do you use Induk? And I'm not meaning handicap as in like I'm trying to be politically correct or incorrect. I'm just trying to come after a point, right? I'm not trying to influence social linguistics here. We are broken. And go pray. And we don't have a balance, and you have to lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. It's a tit for tat. Gamina Gawena, you lean on me now, I lean on you. It's an investment. So when they give you the tools, you use the tools. You ask your people. You don't clog my timeline and ask me, Gogo, you said the other day I needed to do this. Where, how long, how far, how what? Until your soul mission is complete, and the strategy of your own soul contract must then let you know. The strategies comes once in a while. The rest of the time, you have to do the work daily. What do I do with the water? Water speaks. Water speaks. Water speaks. When I was looking at the things of the demon, I had opened a portal of engagement. I had opened a portal of engagement there on the laptop, and I read it because I wanted you, because I know you're going to ask me to do these things and Google things for you when you are there with amazing Wi-Fi. My assistant says whenever she makes a drastic life decision, I'm like, she's so fast. Yes, you must check me. I'm fast like Wi-Fi. So you have Wi-Fi of amazing speed, and therefore you would want me to go and feed you, and that's exactly where we are going. Not going anymore. I will not do the feedings. What you can learn on your own, learn, develop. Learn it. You are qualified. You know things that are amazing in this world. You know them. You did not come here because you were not hard workers. You are hard workers. Now invest in your own spirituality so that you can still operate on this thing without human contamination. Rakwana. We must Rakwana at this stage. Let's continue. Water, when contained, it is manageable. when you break the container, water is dangerous. Water is chaotic. Right now, you don't know what's happening here. I'm telling you here about the laptops and stuff. But immediately, when this water starts to come out of the container, it has a life of its own. It needs every other thing. It will show people where it has been. It's water. You can tell that it has now changed the form of this thing. It's either it will be absorbent or it will not. It will now change another form and have a different life on its own. Or it will dry up. Or it will be here, sitting here, messing up this phone that Nandipa was calling me on. It is water. It is the four elements, and each has its own characteristics, and you can know how to contain it if you are wise and you do not go against the elements, the water, the fire, the soil, and the wind. The wind can push you back. If hey Aqua, you're trying to, let's say you're trying to light up a fire, you have all the best of intentions to light up a candle, but now the wind is a force unto you. You need to say, wind, where are we going? How can I work best with you? Must I put on my candle here? Will you then allow me to evoke? So we must ask and engage and be in alignment with the flow of what is calling you. If you see a school of fish, the one that will go against the current is the one that will die. And they will never go switch back and go fetch it. This is not Jesus and the one sheep. They will leave it and it shall be eaten by whatever it gets to be eaten by. But it will not endure the current of the force, even though it is a fish that is own habitat is water. It will not endure it because you are moving against the tide and the flow. You are now contradictory. You are evoking a fight against the thing that's supposed to feed you. And it's now telling you that survival is on the other side. So know your elements and work within your elements and go with the flow of the call. Go with the flow of the call. Don't be a Van Damme and a Rambo here in spirituality, because you might not be back. It will terminate you yourself. So the gift needs to be it needs to be developed, comrades. It needs to be. Your spirit needs to be developed. And I'm saying gift as if like I'm then putting a distinction against other people and favoring the other people. But we are in a position where your spirit, if not well contained, if you don't have the clarity of whether it's increasing, it's half full, it's empty, it is being contaminated, whether you do not know because you've not engaged and cleaned this thing and we can no longer ask questions that are preventing us to act. When you're writing a story, the questions that you ask must form the story that you are coming there to understand. 3 or 4 things might change the flow of the story. And we could be 6 journalists at one press conference, and each of us will come out with a different story while we are listening to one person speak. Because agenda setting is important. Who you are reporting for is important. We can be all of us in one space and we can come out with a different narrative, but the narrative must feed the story of the family that you come from, this newsroom that you are reporting to. So if you are a sports entity and you are listening to a Sona and they are talking about uh, the climate change and the conference of climate change that is going to be coming in here. And when you are writing for a sports thing, and when they were giving a budget for sports and what, when you missed the story, you are fired. You are fired. And how fed Samola Paris conference, you are going to ask questions when I like, yeah, on that issue of the Department of Health now catering for women in cancer, how do we do it? What is the strategy there? And you come and write about it in sports, you are fired. So all of information will be there. But if it does not suit your spiritual strategic intent, you will always be fired. Ancestors are always looking for somebody else to take your space. You are not guaranteed the position that you are being called for. They are always raising somebody else, somebody new, somebody obedient, somebody who is going to propel the agenda. The agenda does not change because you are resistant. The agenda does not stop because thy is resistant. So when you are called, you are set apart. By all means, you are set apart. Can never be business as usual. It can never be. Let's not fool you. It's a lonely path. It's a sad path. It's an uncharted terrain. It is the road less traveled. We are in these positions that we are in because people plainly refused to come onto this terrain. And that's why we are getting it in alley thorns. We are climbing the mountain for the first time where there is no human track. And we have to do so being very resolute because we trust the voice. You cannot trust what you have not spoken to. You cannot trust. You cannot go on to a company and say, I'm going to an interview when you have not gotten an email from Nomusa inviting you and giving you a pin and telling you what time and telling you all of these things. Nomusa is your contact. Even though you know you want to work for the CEO, but you must be having some sort of a contact with somebody. It can no longer be your college professor because you are done with the syllabus. Now you are working or you are about to work. You are dealing with the nomusas of this world. They are human resource. They are trained for your comfort. They are trained for your psyche. They are trained to make you function in a system where there is no functionality, where it's a system of goals and numbers. But they are saying, we are the department that can be human with you as you are executing. But whenever it gets tough, you can come and be human with us. So start by finding your human resource department here at the gift. And go slowly but surely. The human resource department, as human as it is, it has a file of each and every person in this company, including the CEO and the board members. They know them from a human perspective. And they will try to be as human as possible consistently with everybody else, no matter their level. I want a human resource that becomes much more kinder to CEOs. They are governed by policies. And that's what the gift is about. That's what your ancestors are about, even though you are going to be liaising with each and every department. But your prayer, your pathing, is the neutralizing thing for the whole human HR. It is what it is. Your prayer, your pathing, your candles, your water. It is the naturalizing of this thing so that this environment is bearable for everyone, even though we are likely to coexist in conflict and different mandates, or sometimes even a uniform mandate. You can no longer ask questions that make you not to move. For healers, I personally find them like I'm not teaching for growth. I'm teaching for information, and I'm not teaching for function. I'm teaching for consumption. I'm not teaching for development. I'm teaching because whatever it is that is in your head, that you are consuming the information that I give you, but if it's going to be debilitating you, because now we are talking about the scopes of demons and angels and principalities and rulers, and you're going to hide under your bed and say, I will not even venture at all because I've not even understood the titles. And I've not understood if the fighters are coming from the mother side or the father side. You are already in turmoil and in danger, the friend. The quality of your question determines the quality of the answer. When you know better, you do better. I love you. The light is gone. Let's go and find artificial lighting for myself. As you go on, my name is Ntabisa Mojana and I'm a spiritual medium. May you never be deterred from venturing and going forward, because we are in a revolution, no matter what we say. And it can no longer sound like a whisper. It's loud. Love you a lot.